We have a company photo today at the Opera House of all the artists and like the faculty and stuff. So that's why I'm all dappered up. And then I have a lesson, some coachings. Let's do it. Taking the bike. Patrick, what did you think of the photo?
I thought it was fantastic. I had a great time being here at 9 a.m. It was really fantastic. Emmett and I walked in late together. It was
We did.
Great.
Oh! No way.
That's not.
Don't get on. It just stopped with us on there. Just finished the interview. I got some time to eat before my voice lesson. Interview went really well, and I will let you guys know when all of that is being broadcasted. So. That is the orchestra. They're practicing Rheingold, which is an opera by Wagner. So cool. Finished with the voice lesson. I've got one more coaching to do, and then I get to go home. All right, back in the elevator, going home. Thank God. And that's where I stopped recording for the day. It is no longer Tuesday. I wasn't in the mood to record for the rest of the day, and I'll tell you why. The second bike that I've had in this city in the past 2 months was stolen. It was stolen. The third time I had ever ridden it to work, it was stolen. Right outside of my work, in the middle of the day, sunshine. I'm not somebody who gets tied up about materialistic things. Like, it's a bike. I'm gonna buy another bike. In fact, I have another bike that's gonna hopefully be here soon. And besides the sentimental value of it being my brother's bike from high school, it's the sheer principle of it. I feel violated that somebody would steal something that wasn't theirs. I'm sorry, I love Chicago, and this in no way is me saying that anywhere else is better than anywhere else. This is completely not about that. This is purely driven by statistics. But I rode my bike around New York my entire life. Up until I went to school, never had an issue. I rode my bike in New York up until I left for college. And, you know, granted I was growing up on Long Island, but I'd have my bike in the city as I got older. And then I went to Cincinnati. And for the 4 years I was in Cincinnati, the town that the school's around, Clifton, was rated the #1 most dangerous place to live in the United States. It was the #1 worst campus for crime all 4 years. I rode my bike every day, and nothing happened to it, ever. I then moved back to New York, and I went to school at Juilliard in the city, and I lived in Manhattan for 3 years, 2 years in school, 1 year out of school. I rode my bike every day. Nothing happened to it. Then I come to Chicago, and I'm here for 5 months, and 2 bikes get stolen in 2 months. It's very frustrating because I love Chicago. I love this town. I've always loved this town. I think it's a great town. I love the history of this town, both in music and otherwise. But there's a major issue here with crime that I know is being politicized right now, it shouldn't be. It should just be something that we address because it's crazy. Like, for example, Chicago has a population of 2.7 million roughly, and New York has a population of 8.4 million roughly. Now, the murder rate of Chicago versus New York is staggering. In 2014, New York, meaning the 5 boroughs of the city, had a total of 333 murders. That's 333 reported murders in the entire year of 2014. That is 1 murder for every 25,225 people in New York. In that same year, in 2014, Chicago had a total number of 411 reported murders. That's more than the total murders in New York City that has 8.4 million people versus the 2.7 million people in Chicago. 2.7, that's 3 times the population in New York, but they had less murders. 411 murders for every 2.7 million people is 1 murder for every 6,569 people. That's crazy. That's 2014. Now, of course, things fluctuate, and 2015 was lower, 2016 is supposedly lower, but also it's trending up now. But if we're just singling out 2014, I wanted to use 2014 because the most accurate data that exists right now is for 2014. They have accurate data for 2015, but people debate it. 2014, everyone basically agrees on these stats. Now we come to theft. In New York, and I'm going to remind you, over 3 times the amount of people in that city, the number of reported thefts was 112,107. That's 1 theft for every 74.9 people. That's a lot. On the other hand, in the same year, 2014, Chicago, with its 2.7 million people, had reported thefts of 61,545. Now, you're going to say to yourself that those numbers are smaller, but when you take into account the population, that's 1 in every 43.8 people. 1 theft for every 43.8 people. That's almost twice as bad as it was in New York. Now, I'm gonna say again, this in no way is me saying that New York is better than Chicago. It's just I've lived in New York for a long time, and now I'm living in Chicago. So I wanted to use places that I had my own experience. I could have used places like LA, that has its own stats, that some are worse than Chicago, some are better than Chicago. I could have used many places, but I wanted to use New York because I lived in New York. And yes, I am a New Yorker, and I know it sounds like I'm being very biased, but these are just plain statistics. And the fact that somebody can steal my bike twice in the middle of the day when it had 2 separate locks on the bike is so frustrating. I know people fall on hard times. I know people get desperate when they need money. I get that, but there is a conversation that needs to happen when crime rates are worse in a place that is stereotypically considered safer than a place that has 3 times the amount of people. I mean, when I got here, everyone told me Chicago is like a safer, cleaner New York. And it's definitely cleaner than New York, but it's not safer. I'm sorry, it's not. And listen, again, I love Chicago. I love Chicago. I love being here. I love it. Yes, I miss New York. Yes, I'm going to be moving back to New York when I'm done with my opera work here, but I have nothing against Chicago as a place. I just have something against whatever lack of oversight, lack of funding, lack of whatever that causes a city like this to have such a horrible crime rate. And I'm living in this city, so this does concern me. This beyond the fact that like my material things get stolen, again, whatever, it's a bike, but it's a safety issue. When you're somebody who lives in a city that has these types of statistics, it forces you to ask yourself, if there are people who are willing to do this during the day, what are they willing to do at night when I come out of a rehearsal at 10 p.m., which happens during the season? That part of the city is completely empty at that time. I mean, after 6, it empties out. It's similar to the financial district. People don't live there, basically. Around like 8 or 9, it's pretty desolate. So often we're in rehearsals until 9 or 10 at night. It's just hard because, again, it's not about the material objects. They're just objects. And, as I've said in these vlogs, objects like these, cameras, drones, bikes, all that stuff is just vessels in which I choose to express myself and show you my life. I love biking, so it's definitely a blow. It's more about the feeling of being violated. Somebody took something that was mine. I'm not trying to be a bratty New Yorker. It's just because I lived in New York for so many years and now I live here, so I'm trying to use my experience. But I think he was able to sense that I was upset, so he just hopped up to say hi, say, "Dad, calm down." Yeah. Whoa. Kitty butt. What are you doing? You mooning the camera? So anyway, sorry that I didn't record more of the day. It was just a really stressful day filled with talking to police and frantically looking around for cameras. But it is what it is. I don't foresee getting my bike back. Just wanted to kind of vent to you guys. My intention was not to be whiny during this vlog. My intention was not to be bias during this vlog. I just wanted to be real with you guys. I'm sure that you guys can relate in some way to this like feeling of being violated like that, like having something stolen from you or being affected by a crime, whether you were the victim yourself or you knew the victim or something. And honestly, it's new to me. It's not something I experienced in New York ever, not something I experienced in Cincinnati, shockingly. Here we are. I am bikeless again. I'm back on the skateboard and in cabs, but all will be fine. We're gonna move forward, get back on track with vlogs, bring back the positivity. Just wanted to vent the negativity I was feeling and the just sheer anger. But anyway, I haven't posted the Tuesday vlog yet. Obviously haven't posted the Wednesday vlog yet, but I hope you're enjoying them. If you haven't seen it yet, on the Monday vlog, I did a song, so check that one out. Again, and also if you haven't seen the Tuesday vlog, check that one out. I believe this brings us up to date, and yeah, so see you in the next one.